Yo, 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 people and patrons of the night, it is your boy BD, and welcome back to the Horror Tavern. Make sure to grab a seat and take a drink, because we're going to be exploring the limitless cavern that is the horror genre. And today I'm returning back to kids' horror, specifically Goosebumps. Obviously that's what I started my channel on, something that I'm very much in love of. So let me return back to my origins. We're going to be talking about Goosebumps, and I'm going to be talking about a Give Yourself Goosebumps book that I actually read close to last year, around like late in last year. And this one surprised me because this was a very fun book. I was not expecting this book to be as fun as it was. I knew there were some people out there who liked it. I know my friend, he's a blogger, Spongy444. This is one of his favorite Give Yourself Goosebumps books. But then I heard a lot of other reviewers and people saying that this Give Yourself Goosebumps book was not that good, or they even hated it or did not like it. So it was a mixed bag overall. And then I read the book and I was extremely shocked with how good it is. This book is extremely fun, it's extremely interesting, and it has not only some really great gross out moments, it has some good horror in there, some good body horror, it has some fun cameos from some other Goosebumps monsters that you'll be very familiar with, and one of the plot lines in this book is not represented on the cover, it's not really what's promoted, but the second storyline in this book is the most badass stuff that I've seen in Goosebumps in a long time. It involves reality manipulation. Sorry, I still got my cough. Trying to get over it. Has some reality manipulation, has some really awesome effects and action sequences and gimmicks in that plot line, and it has probably one of the most underrated Goosebumps villains that I've ever seen. And this Goosebumps villain is arguably one of the most powerful, easily the most badass, and I absolutely fell in love with them. So let's talk about this Give Yourself Goosebumps book. Today we're going to be discussing Attack of the Beastly Babysitter. Now this book essentially is about you, since this is a Give Yourself Goosebumps book, you are the main character, and you're basically about to get a babysitter that's going to take care of you. Your mom's heading out, and you're with your little brother Stinko. Yes, that's his name, Stinko. You know, if people were questioning how creative Stein is with the names, Stinko is about as low of the low you can go regarding Goosebumps names. But yes, his name is Stinko, little baby brother. And you have the babysitter coming in, and as soon as the babysitter comes through the door, you see that she looks kind of odd. Her name is Zoe, but she looks like she's got like a pointed face. She looks like she's got whiskers. Her eyes look a little bit off. And you think, okay, maybe I'm being a little bit more judgmental than usual. She might be normal or whatever. And then you start getting these hints that something is going on that's quite odd. Maybe potentially the babysitter that was supposed to come take care of you had some accident or something that happened to them that they could not come in. And now Zoe's going to be the babysitter that's going to be taking care of you. And right away she decides that she has a fun pastime activity that you two can participate in. She pulls out this spinner and she decides, you know what, you can go ahead, take a spin and see if you land on the fun option or the games option. And both of these lead to the two different storylines, storyline A and storyline B in the Attack of the Beastly Babysitter. Sorry, I'm trying to make videos for y'all, but a little tough, so just bear with me. Again, you can get this storyline either A or B in this book. So storyline A is if you land on the fun option. If you land on the fun option, you go to a place called the Fun Zone, which is ran by a company called Kids Care. That's what the company's called. But there's a weird way that you can read it that instead of saying Kids Care, it can also say Kid Scare. So that's like a little fun little pun on the acronym or name of the company. And it's basically like this amusement park. You got this fun stuff like giant like roller coaster rides, you know, activities. There's like this giant ball pit, this endless ball pit that you can go within. And there seems to be some strange things going on in this Fun Zone place because it is run by mutant rat people. Now, I am terrified of rats. I hate rats. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been exposed to houses and places that have been infested by rats and mice, and I had a traumatizing experience as a kid. This was back after my parents got divorced. I was being babysitted by my dad over at my cousin's house for a little bit, and he had to go leave for work. He was going to be coming back soon in like the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so. And my cousin had to leave temporarily to go, I think, shopping for something. So I was left in the house, and it got dark quickly because it was approaching the evening. And as it started getting dark and everybody left the house, I was sitting on the couch in the living room. And next thing you know, 50 or more rats came out of all the various crevices in the house. They came out of closet doors underneath there. There was TV cables that were running through the floor. They came out of there. They came out of the kitchen. And the house has white plaster walls. So I saw shadows of several rats and mice going across the walls around the corner bends of the kitchen. And then in the living room, there was, again, dozens upon dozens of rats and mice that were roaming around, and I was crying my eyes out. I was terrified, traumatized. My biggest fear was that one of these fuckers was going to get up on the couch, and that would have been game over. That would have been wraps for your boy. But it didn't happen. Luckily, my dad came like 35 minutes, 40 minutes later. It was all good, but that was traumatizing, and ever since then, I've been terrified of rats in all form. I've gotten a little bit better, but still scare me really bad. So this story having mutant rat people, you know, half human, half rat hybrids, is horrifying. I mean, these guys are Chuck E. Cheese mascots on steroids and off meth, okay? They're horrifying, dude. And you have to avoid getting caught by them. You have to run through like various different jungle gyms and all these different attractions at this fun zone, kids scare park. And you get into some fun situations. One of them, I think, involves like a drawbridge. There's like a giant jungle gym that's like a real jungle, and you have to cross this drawbridge, and you are in a situation where you maybe or maybe not have to, like, you know, either jump off the cliff and potentially die, or try to get your best way out of the situation, or you would be confronted by like these 5 or 6 rat human hybrids that are wearing like military clothing. They're like soldiers or security guards there. Really crazy story. There's also a fun cameo from a Goosebumps monster. I can't speak today. What the hell? Goosebumps monster. That is the Beast from the East. The Beast from the East is in this book. The way that they are introduced is very cool. It's kind of set up to where you're put into this very ominous, atmospheric kind of place. You don't really know who you're being confronted by. And then when you realize what's going on, you have to be put into a game of trivia. And this game of trivia could potentially or potentially not risk your life. So yeah, make sure you know your Goosebumps knowledge. Otherwise, you're going to be getting into a not so friendly encounter with the Beast from the East. You also have some really disgusting body horror and just overall general gross out moments involving the rat people. One of them is when you're trying to escape a bunch of rat people that are trying to hunt you down, and you go into a place called the Tomb of the Unknown Rats or something. And this tomb is basically these 2 giant walls that are completely made out of mummified rat corpses. Thousands upon thousands of mummified rats make up the 2 walls of this place. And next thing you know, you're stuck in an Indiana Jones kind of trap where the walls start closing in. And you realize it's kind of like a trash compactor. You're about to get squished to pieces, crushed to death within this wall of disgusting mummified rats that you describe as being like, you know, very strong, decomposing, you know, smells of death and stuff like that. And there's one ending where as it's closing in, a mummified rat, oh, ew, it falls in your mouth. And you describe that you can taste hundreds, centuries of decay and rotted flesh on your mouth. That is quite possibly the most disgusting thing I've ever read in Goosebumps. Easily one of the most disgusting things I've ever read in kids' horror. I nearly vomited reading that. I already hate rats. They freak me out. The idea of being stuck between 2 walls of thousands upon thousands of mummified rats closing in on you, crushing you to death, and next thing you know, one falls in your mouth, and then you get crushed to death. That's fucked up. No, that's fucked up. That is not okay, and yet it's in this book. So very fun thing, very cool. And that's just one storyline. The second storyline is actually my favorite. I actually prefer this storyline over the rat storyline in Fun Zone, even though it is gross out, even though it's creepier. The next storyline is really, really fun. And this is what happens if you select the games option on the spinner. the beginning choice in the book. And you get confronted by a guy named Dare. Now, Dare works for Kid Scare, this company, organization, or whatever. And Dare is a guy who wears this like long silky cape, and he's completely covered head to toe in tattoos. He's covered head to toe in a bunch of tattoos of like demons and monsters and dragons and werewolves and vampires, trolls, all these different creatures, covering, again, every single inch of his body. He's almost looks like he's made out of tattoos. He's got a full body tattoo thing going on. And he basically is able to, I guess, like flap out his cape and create this kind of like tent area that has the center of the game section in there. And when you get in there, this man is the most badass, the most coolest Goosebumps villain that I've read, quite possibly so far. He has the ability to manipulate reality. And what he's able to do is he can teleport you to different dimensions inside of this game center, in this tent. So he's able to teleport you to medieval castles. He's able to teleport you in the middle of the desert. He can teleport you to like icy cold tundras or the ocean, wherever you need to go, the woods. He can teleport you to all different kinds of places, and he can manipulate reality there. So one of the situations you get into is you get sent out into the middle of a scorching hot desert. It's just sand for miles and miles and miles. You look like you're stuck out in the middle of the Sahara desert. You're burning up, it's hot, your mouth is dry, and next thing you know, Dare creates a fucking black hole. He creates a black hole, all right, that starts racing towards you, and the black hole starts sucking in all this sand and creates a giant sand tornado, a sand vortex that starts racing towards you. That you know, not only are you going to get caught up in the sand and dragged into the tornado, but as soon as you hit the middle of the black hole, you're obviously going to be consumed and crushed to death. That is one of the most awesome scenes in Goosebumps I've ever read. And you only get that kind of stuff in Give Yourself Goosebumps, where, you know, you're allowed to do a lot more crazier stuff. You're allowed to do some wild things. Give Yourself Goosebumps really goes out on a limb to give you some really insane situations in Goosebumps, some stuff you would not see in mainline books. And it's super fun. It feels like the most awesome video game levels that you could be a part of, and just the variety in Give Yourself Goosebumps is incredible. So you end up with Dare. He sends this black hole racing towards you, creating a sand tornado. You have to find a way to get out of it. Then he can also send you to like ice tundras, and he has like different weapons that he can use. And again, like I said, he has a body completely covered and seemingly made out of tattoos. And I forgot to mention something. He can pull off these tattoos and throw them out, and these tattoos will turn into real life versions of whatever he throws out. So if he takes off a cobra tattoo from his arm and throws it out, it'll turn into a real cobra that'll chase after you and try to bite you. He can create dragons. He sends you to a medieval castle with like a giant moat of crocodiles and stuff, and then he throws out a tattoo and creates a giant, you know, Game of Thrones sized dragon that starts spitting, you know, streams of fire at you. He can create large tarantulas. He can create goblins and trolls and monsters and stuff. It's incredible. It is such an awesome storyline, the fact he's able to do all this stuff, and just the high level of stakes, the high level of tension, and yet, again, that Indiana Jones, that incredible, you know, Zathura, or any type of, you know, Jumanji or crazy action adventure movie. You get a lot of impossible situations that happen, and this book in the game section really highlights on that, and it is so much fun. It's so incredible, and I genuinely had a lot of moments in that storyline that kind of my jaw dropped. I was really impressed by that. So that's pretty much what this book encompasses. There's a lot more stuff you can experience that I don't want to get into, but read it. Give it a read. If you like Give Yourself Goosebumps, this is one I recommend. It has my stamp of approval. This is one of the best Goosebumps books that I've read. It's an underrated gem, I think. It's a hidden gem in the Goosebumps community because, again, this is not a bragged about Give Yourself Goosebumps book. Even though there's people that like it, you know, there's a lot of people who kind of hate it, and it's a mixed bag, but I don't see why people hate this one. I really enjoy it. And I would suggest, again, you go give it a read. You will have a fun time. Believe me, if you trust my opinions on some of the stuff I read, if you've agreed with my opinions, I would suggest check it out. And even if you don't, maybe just give it a read. You know, me and Spongy444, we disagree a lot of the time. Me and him have a lot of differing opinions, but me and him both agree that we love this book. So please go check it out. Please have a fun time reading it, and just give it a chance. Maybe if you've never read it, give yourself Goosebumps book. I think you should check out this one. I think this one would really surprise you. And I would give this book a 9.5 out of 10, meaning this is one of the best. Well, you know what? I won't. No, Doc. Let me calm down. Not 9.5 out of 10. I'll give it a 9.2. 9.2 out of 10. This is a really good Goosebumps book. It's really, really great. Again, it gets an A from me, A minus. So this is a really good one. Really, really enjoyed. This is going in my A tier of Give Yourself Goosebumps book. I may raise the scores depending on how I feel about it, how I feel about the rest of the series. But yeah, man, this is a great, fun book. That's all I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed this video, I'm looking forward to more content from me, whether it be young adult horror, kids horror, and all different fashions like book, short stories, movies, TV shows, all different kinds of stuff. Go hit that subscribe button down below. We're almost at 300 subscribers. We're getting there, people, and I think it's going to be great if we hit that. And hit that like button as well. You know, helps out with the algorithm, gets my videos out there to you guys so you guys can enjoy the content and interact with me. Let me know how you feel about this book down below in the comments. Let me know what are some of your favorite Give Yourself Goosebumps book. Do you think the Give Yourself Goosebumps series is underrated? Do you think it should be as popular as the mainstream books? And do you think people should give game books more of a chance? Because game books are not as popular as they used to be now. So, yeah, let me know down below. That's all I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. And on the ending note, I can finally cough. So, deuces. Yo, I'm sick of all rats, bro. We're going to terminate rats. And first of all, people be defending rats. Rats are the cause of the Black Plague, all right? Now we're going to ignore the fact that they came from India because, you know, I'm Indian. So, you know, I low-key have a vendetta. You know what? I'm the Indian that's going to protest against the rats. They caused a lot of genocide in humanity. They've tormented us for a long time. It's time we unify and commit a purge on the rats. Now, if you've read that one horror book by I think some guy named like James something that's about rats taking over the world, and that occurs, my name was Julio Gestapo Don Quixote IV.